Well, Nevada's unemployment agency is failing thousands of people who can't get their money. A recent court ruling against PUA claimants means that the state will not be forced to start making large-scale payments. Thank you for watching and streaming us tonight. I'm Todd Quinones.
And I'm Trisha Keene. Well, DETR has floated several excuses for this backlog, and tonight, 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears talks to experts and former insiders who say it just doesn't add up.
We all know that our state system is overwhelmed, with Nevada having the highest unemployment rate in the nation. But DETR is designed to not only help people with individual needs, but also to protect our economy. So why does it continue to fail so many?
Hi everyone, my name is David Day. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I am a freelance makeup artist.
David Day created this YouTube video to illustrate how so many claimants get caught between PUA and regular unemployment.
So I spoke with someone on May 17th from PUA who told me, even though I know that you're going to be eligible for PUA because you're self-employed and a gig worker, you still have to go through UI and be denied first.
A model of inefficiency. DETR's unemployment system remains an expensive head-scratcher for claimants like David Day. He has multiple letters confirming eligibility, but still no money. Why? From DETR officials to a district court judge to the governor, we keep hearing the same thing.
We know that the state is dealing with an antiquated computer system.
It's one of the primary things they blame for delays in processing claims and getting people paid. But Steve Zelke, a former DETR manager who was with the agency for over 25 years, says otherwise.
I think there's been some excuses that have been made, some circumstances that have been, for lack of a better term, played out.
In court records filed as part of a class action gig worker lawsuit over unpaid PUA claims, Zelke says the system is not archaic, calling it one of the more modern systems nationwide. In fact, DETR's computer system went through a $40 million upgrade less than 5 years ago, but former DETR adjudicator Laura Fayer says it didn't help much.
So what did we get for that $40 million?
we got a terrible system. To this day, I mean, it's just really not a very good system.
A former DETR software engineer who asked not to be identified confirms DETR's IT system is not outdated or antiquated, but isn't used well. He says DETR built and maintains the system on just 1 or 2 servers, which may be why it needs to be shut down so often for maintenance. And when it's DETR, maintenance means thousands of people shut out of the system, thousands of potential payments delayed, and it happens a lot. According to emails directly from DETR, the system was down April 11th and 18th, at least 3 times in both May and June, again on July 2nd. On July 29th, the UINV site was down 8 p.m. to midnight. The DETR and Job Connect sites were down the next morning, July 30th. This month, more system outages, August 1st, 8th, and 15th, and again on Saturday when both the regular unemployment and PUA sites were offline. UNLV computer science professor Andy Stefik says the outages raise a red flag.
Well, yeah, no doubt that is an extremely important system. And so anytime you've got something mission critical to people's lives, there needs to be an element of security in terms of like how reliable it is.
And if there's a problem, he says, fix it.
If they're claiming it's antiquated, why? Like, what's the technical problem that they're having?
Easier said than done, says longtime employee Laura Fayer.
After working for unemployment for so many years, I always said, if it's logical or reasonable, unemployment is not going to do it.
To that point, we've learned DETR already had a system in place to mitigate a crisis. It's called DUA, Disaster Unemployment Assistance. As court records from the PUA lawsuit show, Congress based pandemic unemployment assistance in many ways word for word on pre-existing disaster relief programs. But Nevada DETR chose to use an outside vendor and build a whole new system.
You know, I heard that they were afraid that PUA wouldn't become functional if it had to go on to the existing system.
Former Nevada Assembly Speaker Barbara Buckley is leading a task force to clear up the claims backlog.
What about the concept of 2 computer systems? Why do they need 2?
Yeah, you know, in the end, in my opinion, we need 1.
Steve Zelke says it boils down to failed leadership.
I don't think they have sufficient experience to understand what tools are available to them, both administratively and in a technology point of view.
Operating with two systems makes the whole complicated process even worse, says Buckley. But right now, they don't want to slow payments down in order to integrate.
That's got to come after the backlog's resolved. But clearly that's a problem. You can't have two computer systems.
Special Hearing Master Jason Guinasso echoes that in this recent report to the court as part of the PUA lawsuit. He said there should be a one-stop shop for administering unemployment benefits in Nevada with the same program, process, and people working on claims. He said requiring people to go from one program and process to another creates an unnecessary additional layer of administration that is redundant, time-consuming, and frustrating for applicants. David Day keeps waiting for his money and likens it to a dysfunctional family.
The way that I see it is like DETR is the parent of the household. And in the house lives PUA, one child, and UI, child two. Anybody living in the same house, like, why would you not allow your children to speak to each other? You all live in the same house. So if you guys are all part of DETR, why is it that PUA can't talk to UI?
As for the reliability problem, the former DETR software engineer says leadership was warned it was not a question of if, but when the system would crash or be hacked if proper measures were not implemented during the upgrade.
DETR says its systems are highly complex and require regular maintenance and updates, which unfortunately will result in continuing outages. The agency says its most recent modernization was in 2015. Darcy Spears, 13 Investigates.